After a night out, my husband came home acting weird. He kept checking his phone and smirking. Suspicious, I installed a hidden camera in our bedroom. The next day, while he was at work, I checked the footage, and saw him bringing another woman into our bed while I was away. That evening, I waited for him with the footage playing on a loop. He walked in, froze, and whispered, "Oh, sh*T." That was just the beginning of his nightmare. I'm not even sure where to begin. I've never posted anything like this before, but I need to get this out. Maybe someone has been through something similar. I, 42 female, live in a suburb near Dallas, Texas. Been married to my husband, Mark, 45 male, for 18 years. 2 kids, teenagers. Life wasn't perfect, but we had a routine. I work part-time at the library, and Mark's a regional sales manager for a tech company. Everything seemed normal until last weekend. It started with what should have been an ordinary Friday night. Mark told me he was grabbing drinks with coworkers. He does this maybe once or twice a month. It's never been a big deal. I stayed home, watched TV, went to bed early. He got home around 12:30 a.m. That's when I noticed it. Something was off. He came in smiling to himself. Not the usual tired, slightly buzzed version of Mark I was used to seeing after these nights. He looked excited. He kept looking down at his phone, typing, smiling again. He walked past me into the kitchen, checking his phone again, almost like he forgot I was there. I asked if he had fun. He barely looked at me and said, "Yeah, it was all right." No details. Just that vague reply. Then he laughed at something on his phone and said it was a dumb joke his coworker sent. I didn't press it, but something in my stomach twisted. You know that feeling? That slow, cold, creeping gut feeling when something's just wrong? That was the moment it hit me. The rest of the weekend? He was attached to his phone like it was glued to his hand. He took calls in the garage or in the bathroom. Whenever I walked in the room, he'd flip the phone over. I noticed the passcode screen had changed too. When I asked, he shrugged and said his company was cracking down on phone security. I didn't fight him on it. But I started watching. I played nice all weekend. Acted like everything was fine. But I was observing. He was distracted. Didn't touch me once. Didn't ask about the kids. Barely made eye contact. Always, somewhere else. Probably with her. That Sunday night, after everyone went to sleep, I stayed up. I thought about what to do. I've never been a jealous wife. Never gone through his phone. Never had a reason to not trust him. But this? It felt different. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I ordered a small hidden camera. One of those nanny cam types that looks like a clock. It arrived Monday morning while the kids were at school and Mark was at work. I placed it in the bedroom, facing the bed. My hands were shaking. I felt sick. I knew I was going to see something. I just didn't know how bad it would be. He came home that night like nothing was wrong. Kissed me on the cheek. Ate dinner. Scrolled his phone all night. Tuesday morning, after the house cleared out, I closed the blinds, locked the door, and opened the footage. What I saw made my heart stop. Monday afternoon, right after I left to pick up the kids and run errands, he came home. Not alone. With a woman. Blonde, tall, probably early 30s. I'd never seen her before. She walked in like she'd been there before. Like it was their room. They kissed immediately. Hands everywhere. He said her name, I won't repeat it here, but he said it like it was second nature. They undressed each other, laughing. Crawled into our bed. Our bed. He didn't even hesitate. They didn't rush. It wasn't some desperate, shameful hookup. It was slow, intimate, comfortable. Like they'd done it before. Like it was normal for them. When it was over, she lay on his chest. He kissed her forehead. Told her something about how he missed this and she always knows what he needs. I don't even remember breathing. I watched them fall asleep in my bed. I watched every second of it. All 58 minutes. My hands were shaking the entire time. I couldn't cry. I just sat there, numb, staring at the screen. He came home that night like nothing had happened. Like he hadn't brought another woman into our home just hours before. I didn't say a word. I cooked dinner. Asked about his day. Smiled when he smiled. I was acting, but he didn't notice. He never once suspected I knew. What he didn't know was that while we were eating dinner, I was uploading the video to a backup drive. I was making copies. I was planning. The next night, I waited for him. I had the footage queued up on the TV in our bedroom. Full volume. Lights dimmed. I didn't say a word. Just sat on the edge of the bed, arms crossed, staring at the screen. He walked in. His whole body froze. Then he said it. Oh, *T. Didn't deny it. Didn't lie. Just those two words. Then silence. I said, sit down. He didn't move. I didn't ask questions. I told him what I saw. I described the whole scene, word for word, detail by detail, while the video played behind me. He couldn't look at the screen. He just stood there, jaw clenched, sweating. Finally, I asked, how long? He said nothing. I stood up, walked past him, and said, you can sleep in the guest room tonight. And that was it. That's all I've got for now. There's so much more, texts, emails, calls, but I haven't even gone through it yet. I'm still in shock. I don't know what to do next. I'm not looking for sympathy. I just needed to say it. After he slept in the guest room that night, everything changed. The silence in our house was heavy. Mark walked around like a ghost. I didn't talk to him unless I had to. He tried to act normal around the kids, but they noticed something was off too. Our daughter asked if we were fighting. I just told her we were going through something and not to worry. The next morning, I sat in the kitchen, sipping coffee, staring at nothing. Mark walked in slowly, like he didn't want to wake a sleeping bear. He sat across from me, hands clenched together, and finally opened his mouth. I messed up, he said. No *T, I thought. But I didn't say anything. Just stared. It wasn't supposed to happen like that. Still, I said nothing. I know you don't want to hear this, but she's not just some random hookup. That's when I looked up. He avoided my eyes. I've known her for about 8 months. Her name is Tessa. She's a client. Or, she was. Client. So this started at work. I didn't mean for it to turn into anything. We just started talking. She understood me. She made me feel like I still mattered. Like I wasn't just fading. That word hit a nerve. Fading? I'd spent 18 years building a home, raising our kids, putting his career ahead of my own. And I was fading? You brought her into our bed, Mark, I said slowly. You let her lie where our children were conceived. He looked like he wanted to disappear. But I wasn't done. Tell me the truth. All of it. How many times has she been here? He didn't answer right away. But then he did. 6. 6. 6 times. In my house. While I was out grocery shopping, running errands, picking up our kids. I stood up and walked away. I needed air. I needed anything but him. That day, I went to a divorce lawyer. I didn't know if I was ready to pull the trigger yet, but I needed to understand what my options were. The lawyer, nice lady, sharp as a tack, told me to start documenting everything. Bank statements. Phone bills. All communication. She said Texas is a no-fault state, but evidence can help when it comes to dividing assets and determining custody. When I got home, I found Mark in the garage, pacing. He said, "We need to talk." I said, "You had your chance." Then he dropped a bomb on me. "She's pregnant." I froze. "What?" I said, barely able to breathe. "She's pregnant," he repeated. 8 weeks. I felt like the floor dropped out from under me. That meant it happened while we were still having sex too. While he was still touching me, he was making a baby with someone else. I almost laughed. But it wasn't funny. I walked back into the house without a word. I locked the door behind me and went into my room. Our room. I took off the sheets, the pillows, every trace of what had happened in that bed, and threw it all in the trash. I slept in my daughter's room that night. I couldn't even stand the smell of him anymore. The next day, I called his mother. Mark's mom and I have always had a good relationship. She was devastated when I told her what was happening. She cried. Said she didn't raise him to be like this. Said she'd talk to him. I didn't ask her to. I didn't want his family in this mess, but I was drowning and I needed someone to know. That night, he didn't come home. Didn't call. Didn't text. He came back the next morning looking like hell. Said he'd slept in his car. I asked him why he didn't go to her place. He said, "Because I still love you." That made me laugh, hard. Bitter. Ugly. "You don't do what you did to someone you love," I told him. Then, the twist I never saw coming, he said, "She's not keeping it." I blinked. What? She said she's not ready to be a mom. She's scheduling an appointment next week. I didn't know what to feel. Anger? Relief? Disgust? He kept talking. "She thought I'd leave you for her. When I didn't, she flipped. Said I used her. Said she wanted to ruin me." That's when it hit me. "Oh my God," I said. "You didn't just cheat. You brought drama into our lives. You risked everything for someone who wanted to destroy this family." He didn't deny it. Just stared at the floor like a coward. I asked him to leave. For real this time. He packed a bag, said he'd stay at his brother's. As he was walking out, he turned and said, "I'm going to fix this." I didn't answer. I just closed the door. The next morning, there was a note on my car windshield. Not from Mark. From her. Tessa. It was short. Sloppy handwriting. Said, "You don't know the whole story. Ask him about New Orleans." New Orleans? We never went to New Orleans. I haven't been to Louisiana since college. What the hell happened in New Orleans? That's where I'll pick this up next. I haven't confronted him yet. But I will. And when I do, he better be ready. So, about that note. It sat on my nightstand for 2 days while I stared at it every night like it was a ticking bomb. I didn't want to believe there was more, but of course there was. There's always more when it comes to lies. I finally asked him. I called Mark, told him to come over and talk. He seemed relieved. Probably thought I was softening. I wasn't. He sat at the kitchen table, eyes darting around like a man waiting for a judge to read the sentence. I slid the note across the table. "What happened in New Orleans?" He looked at it. His jaw tightened. I could see the panic crawl into his eyes. Look, it was a work conference," he said. "Last March. I didn't tell you because I didn't think it mattered. You lied and said you were in Houston that weekend." "I know. I had to." "Why?" He went quiet. Then he dropped it. "She flew out there to meet me. Tessa. Again. I was supposed to go alone," he said. "But she booked a flight, showed up, and said it was a surprise. We spent the weekend together. I didn't speak. I just let the silence sit there like a wall between us. Then he added, and there's more. She recorded it. My heart stopped. She what? She set up her phone. I didn't know at first. But then she showed me the video afterward. Said she wanted to remember the weekend. I couldn't breathe. Are you telling me there's a sex tape of you too? He nodded slowly. She threatened to send it to you. Or to my boss. She wanted me to leave you and go public. That's when I realized, it wasn't just an affair. It was blackmail. You cheated on me with a woman who planned to destroy you, I said. She said if I told you, she'd leak it. I was trying to protect you. You don't cheat to protect someone, Mark. And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, he said it. She already sent it. To who? My boss. The VP. Some of the board. HR. Jesus Christ. I stared at him, stunned. You're going to lose your job. He nodded. I already did. They called this morning. Terminated immediately. He buried his head in his hands. And I just sat there, watching the man I used to trust crumble in front of me. I should have felt sorry. But I didn't. Not even a little. This wasn't one mistake. This was a string of selfish, careless decisions that set our entire life on fire. And Tessa? She wasn't finished. 2 days later, I got a call from a blocked number. I normally don't answer, but this time I did. It was her. You don't know him like I do, she said, calm and cold. He lied to both of us. Why are you calling me? I asked. Because I thought you should know, New Orleans wasn't the first time. She named another city. Phoenix. The year before. Same conference circuit. Different woman. He told me he'd ended it with her before we started. But guess what? She reached out to me. Turns out, she was pregnant too. He made her get rid of it. I hung up. I didn't need to hear more. It didn't matter if it was true or not anymore. The image of the man I married was gone. Whatever this was, it was broken beyond repair. Later that night, I went into our storage closet. I pulled out a dusty photo album, our wedding, birthdays, beach trips, the early years when we barely had money for groceries but still managed to laugh over frozen pizza. I sat on the floor flipping through the pages, crying over a version of us that no longer existed. When Mark came to pick up more clothes, I didn't say anything. I just handed him a manila folder. Inside, a list of every lawyer in town. Full custody plans. Copies of the camera footage. Printed screenshots of his texts. Yes, I found a way into his old iCloud backup. Everything. I said, this is the beginning of your new life, Mark. Hope she was worth it. He didn't fight. Didn't plead. Just took the folder and walked out. But here's where it gets even more insane. The next morning, I got a text from an unknown number. Hey, I'm sorry to reach out like this. My name is Vanessa. I saw your number on your husband's emergency contact form. I think we need to talk. She was from Phoenix. And she wasn't the last woman to reach out. Apparently, Tessa wasn't the only one he charmed during work trips. She was just the most unhinged one. As of today, I've spoken to 3 different women. Each had their own Mark story. Each thought they were the one. Each had no idea he was married with 2 kids. My life has gone from happily married to some twisted soap opera. I have no idea what the next chapter looks like. But I do know one thing, I'm not going to be quiet about this. Not anymore. It all came to a head one Thursday afternoon, 3 weeks after everything began to unravel. The school was holding a fundraiser, parents, students, faculty, all gathered in the gym. I wasn't going to go at first. I didn't want to see anyone, didn't want to force a smile and pretend everything was fine when my whole life was ash and smoke. But our daughter was singing with the choir, and she begged me to be there. So I went. I showed up early. Sat near the back. Tried to stay invisible. Then I saw Mark walk in. He wasn't supposed to be there. We hadn't talked in a week, outside of legal logistics. I watched him walk in with flowers, scanning the crowd, looking for her. I sank into my seat, praying he wouldn't see me. But Tessa saw me. She was there too. She came in 5 minutes after him, tight red dress, glossy lips, and a smug smile on her face like she'd already won. And people noticed. The way she touched his arm. The way he looked at her like he didn't even care who was watching. Our daughter saw it too. Her eyes flicked over to me mid-song, confused, her voice wavering. I'll never forget the way her face changed when she saw Tessa lean in and whisper in Mark's ear. The second the performance ended, I stood up and walked toward them. I didn't care who was watching anymore. Tessa, I said, calm and direct. You don't belong here. She smiled like a cat. I'm just supporting my future stepdaughter. Mark's face went pale. I turned to him. You told her that? You told her she's going to be part of our family? He opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. Nothing came out. And then, loud enough for a few parents nearby to hear. Tessa said, he said he was going to propose once the divorce was final. People turned to look. Someone actually gasped. My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. I'm sorry, I said, not to her, not to him, but to our daughter, who stood just feet away, watching the whole thing. I walked past them, straight outside. He followed me. Wait, he called. Please, wait. I turned so fast he almost ran into me. You lied again. After everything, you kept lying. He said, it wasn't supposed to happen like this. I told her things to keep her calm, she was threatening me. I laughed. Bitter. So you were going to marry your blackmailer? I didn't mean it. You meant it when you slept with her in our bed. You meant it when you told her you loved her. You meant it when you said you'd leave me. You meant it when you let our daughter watch her walk in here like she owns your life. Then he said the one thing that finally broke me, I'm not even sure I ever loved you the way I should have. Silence. Like the world had stopped. He realized what he said too late. I nodded. Thank you. For finally saying it. I walked away. He didn't follow me this time. The fallout came fast. Word got around school. Parents whispered. Friends chose sides. His mother stopped calling. My inbox filled with messages from women saying they were so sorry but also kind of saw this coming. Even one of his coworkers sent me screenshots of Mark flirting during work trips years ago. Our daughter stopped talking to him. Our son said he didn't want to visit him anymore. The lawyer said we could use that in the custody case. Tessa? She disappeared. Apparently, once Mark was fired and no longer had his fancy income, she lost interest. No more nice hotels. No more business class flights. No more buying her designer bags on the company card. She blocked him. He tried calling, texting, nothing. He lost everything. And I started to rebuild. I kept going to therapy. Joined a yoga class. Started volunteering at the animal shelter on weekends. Quiet things. Things that gave me peace. Sometimes, I'd cry in the car. Or over coffee. Or while folding laundry. Because healing isn't linear. And heartbreak doesn't care about calendars. But slowly, it started to hurt less. The kids began smiling more. The house started feeling like mine again. And one night, I sat on the porch, watching the sun go down, and realized I was okay. Not whole, not yet. But okay. I don't think I'll ever fully understand how Mark became this version of himself. Or maybe he was always like this, and I just refused to see it. But I do know this, people can lie. They can cheat. They can rip your life in two. But they can't take yourself unless you let them. I lost the man I thought I loved. But I found me again. And right now, that's enough. I'm not angry anymore. Not numb either. I'm just free. And that's a damn good place to start.